Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Valessa and I'm the owner and creator of A Life Refurbished. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how we repurpose an old radio cabinet into a piece that's more functional. If you wanna learn more how you can repurpose these old treasures, stay tuned. Just a quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications button so that you'll know next time I post a video.
We bought this radio cabinet with the goal of making it more functional. We sanded a little bit of the top to see in what condition the wood was, and then took everything inside out. And at this point, we are realizing we need to build sides for the middle drawer and a bottom board. We had some scrap wood and decided to use it to build the other side of the base. To glue this part of our base, we're going to be using both the Tybond Ultimate Wood Glue and to make repairs, this Pro Bond Professional Wood Filler. This light color wood is the base we added, and the dark one is the one that was already existent. To fill in the little bit of a gap that there was between them, we used that wood filler. And after we sanded everything down and made all the repairs with the wood filler and glue, we let it dry overnight. There's a big difference between the piece of wood that we added to the one that was already there, so we are going to be covering the entire bottom with a sheet of wood veneer. We will be applying this contact cement to both our veneer and also the surface where it's going to be attached to. You will see that my husband is applying the cement with a foam brush in this video, but really quickly he learned that that was not the way to go and that we needed to do it with the roller, as we had done it in the past. Since the cement is extremely sticky, I recommend that you take your time to place the veneer in the right spot before you start pressing on it. To help us get rid of any air bubbles, we're using this J roller. As you can clearly see, we cut our piece a little bit bigger than needed, and then we just cut the extra with an X-Acto knife. Next, we're going to be cutting some boards to create some sides and a bottom for the place where the turntable used to be. Here we are securing our boards by nailing them and gluing them to the drawer. Remember that our goal is to make this piece more functional. By adding the sides and a bottom, we're making sure that people will have room for storage. Now that all the repairs are done, I'm going to be refreshing this cabinet by using a couple of paint colors. I'll be using Bullseye Clear Shellac to prime the bottom of my piece and a piece of cardboard to protect the upper part from any overspray from the primer. And as always, I am going to recommend that you read the precautions on using clear shellac. As you can see, I am wearing my face mask and I'm working on a ventilated area as recommended. Endless Shore and Anchor are the two beautiful colors I'll be using. They are from Dixie, Belle, and they're silk all-in-one mineral paint line. I'm going to dilute 20% of these Endless Shore with 80% water ratio to create this watery mix and apply it to make it look like this wood is being stained. This technique is called a color wash. I'm also holding a wet rag that I'm going to be using to wipe off all the excess after I'm done applying this watery mix. After I'm done applying it, I'm gonna wait 2 minutes before I start wiping it off. As you start wiping, you're gonna notice that there's gonna be saturation of paint in your rag. Keep folding it so that you are using the parts that haven't been yet saturated. As I was in the middle of whitewashing the drawer, my husband walked out and said, "I thought that you were gonna be staining that with a brown color." And since I wasn't crazy about this color wash, I decided to grab this water-based gel stain in the tobacco color from Dixie, Belle and overlap it with my watery mix. I'm mixing my two colors using my wet rag. These will make my top a little bit more brown, but not too brown. To be honest, as I started wiping these two products together, I started freaking out. I wasn't sure that I was gonna like these two-tone mix, but freaking out has never served me well in the past, so I decided to wait it out. That takes me to another important point when we're finishing pieces. Make sure that you follow the drying time instructions. Really, in this job, patience does pay off. While I waited for this to dry, I decided to start scuff sanding the bottom of my piece to make sure that my paint will have something to grab on. To my surprise, the more the paint and the gel stain mix kept drying, the more I liked the color, so I left it. At the beginning, I wanted to try and do a black color wash on the bottom of my piece. I wasn't sure if this was going to work out because we had made tons of repairs and perhaps we just needed to go full coverage with our paint. And after the first coat, it was very clear that the second coat needed to be a full coverage paint job. As I was getting ready to paint this door that was at the bottom of our cabinet, my husband and I had a conversation and decided to leave it off. This meant that I needed to remove the hinges I had just put in and fill up those holes. I love using quickwood to fill in deep holes because it dries hard within 30 minutes and then is ready for sanding. It has a putty consistency and it comes in 2 tones. You knead it together until you get one uniform color and then it's ready to use. It was getting late and I was too tired, so I forgot to record the part where I cleaned this area after sanding and before painting. Since I wanted to give my piece a little bit of a sheen, I'm using 0.5% of high performance flat for my top coat and the other 0.5% is going to be the semi-gloss. As always, make sure that you're wearing a respirator when spraying any product to avoid inhaling any sort of chemicals. Since this cabinet is so versatile, I wanted it to be fully protected, so I applied 3 coats of top coat. The next day, once everything was dry, we put the hardware back on. And when we tried to put the drawer back in, we realized that the upper part of this cabinet had a curve, as you can see, so we needed to cut the upper part of our drawer to make sure it fit all the way through. For the sake of transparency, I'm letting you know that we miscalculated our measurements a couple of times, but you know what they say, the third time's a charm. We finally got our cuts to the right measurements and our drawer fit perfectly. Once we were able to get it through, we added a base to it. At last, a full functioning drawer. After the not so little hiccup, we kept putting this cabinet back together by adding the hardware and mounting the tuner back on. One piece of advice when you're taking these cabinets apart is to put all the hardware in a plastic bag and tape to label each part so that when it's time to put it back together, you'll know exactly where everything goes. Just as we were starting to get super excited to be done with this cabinet, we forgot a small detail. When we purchased it without a bottom backing. And right about now we're realizing, hey, we need to cut another piece of wood and attach it for the bottom backing. This will allow people to be able to store more things and make it more functional. The good news is that it came with a really cool upper backing. I will show it to you in a minute. Check out that cool upper back. I love all the markings. Now it's time to cut another piece for the bottom of our backing. We added a little bit of character to this bottom part by adding some wallpaper. At this point, we were getting super anxious to finish this piece. Now that it's all done, we couldn't be happier with the results. I mean, think all the things that you can use this cabinet for. A coffee station comes to mind, a place to store your wine bottles and your wine glasses, or a place to store books. There's so many uses you can give this cabinet now. Every time a piece of furniture is repurposed, makes me think, what would that piece say if it was alive? Would it say the taking apart was worth it? Would it say, man, this next life is gonna be better than the last one? One thing I know is that life changes and it never stays the same. Why not embrace the change? And who knows, maybe your new life, your life refurbished, will be better than your first one. It'll be different, but better.
For watching. I hope that you can learn something from our hiccups and mistakes today, and that you will feel inspired next time you see one of these treasures. If you want to get notified every time I post another repurpose, restyle piece of furniture, make sure that you turn on your notifications button. And finally, just like there is hope for these pieces of furniture, remember there's always hope for you. Thank you, and until next time.